Hello guys, I want us to discuss student leadership. What makes a good enough student leader? I've been at the university for almost a decade as an employee, and I'm very passionate about student development programs, and I know a lot of students are eager to assume leadership positions. But what really makes a good enough student leader? What are some of the principles that guide or that would explain good leadership? I'm focusing on a student population. And every time that I'm invited by students to facilitate leadership training, I always start with the basics. And the basics for me are issues around understanding responsibilities and accountabilities. When you ask people, what are you responsible for? What's your use? What's your purpose? It may sound very basic, but it's not. It's not. When you are a student leader, you operate in a system. The university is comprised of management, academic staff, student support staff, and there are students. And you may find that there are other role players also involved. So you need to be clear about your responsibilities in this bigger community. Because when you are not clear about your responsibilities, you lose your purpose and you don't respect your boundaries. Because a good enough student leader will know issues that they can deal with and will also know issues that are beyond their scope. They will know that I can confront A, B, C, but when it comes to D, E, F, I need to refer because it's no longer within my space and my competence. But you are not in a position to even respect boundaries and understand your role if you are not clear enough about your responsibilities. And issues around accountability is something I would also raise. I will ask them, what is it that we can blame you for? What is it that only you and no one else can answer to? Because with responsibilities, it's easy to shift responsibilities to the next person. But accountability is something you cannot push to the next person. When you are accountable for something, it means you are liable for it. And it's you who needs to provide answers to it. So I will challenge them on that in these kind of positions that you are assuming, what sort of things that only you can give answers to? What sort of things that only you can claim if they are working right? And you need to provide answers also if they are not working right. But apart from that, there are important principles. And one of those principles is the fact that it's not about you. So you do not elect Sanele Zuma to lead students or to represent masses, and suddenly it's about what Sanele Zuma wants. No, it's not about you. It's about the people that you are representing. It's not about your values. It's not about your needs. It's not about what you think is right. It's not about what you think is not right. It's about what students want, because you are a representative. You are the face of the masses. And I can tell you that in most tertiary institutions, you find a lot of student leaders who abuse their positions, claiming to be fighting battles on behalf of students when the very same students are not interested even by a bit in fighting such battles. We're doing it for students. No. We tend to abuse that a lot. We need to be clear whether we're doing it for us because we want it, or we're really doing it for the masses, because at times you sit with students one-on-one, one after the other. Okay, I realize that the student body is moving towards this direction, so I'm assuming you guys are not really happy with certain issues, and students would say, no, rubbish. No, we don't want that to happen. I don't know why they are pursuing that. But why would student leaders be pursuing things that the majority of students wouldn't be approving? There is a big fault there. Then you realize that somebody is in a position of power, but is not using that power to benefit the masses, but pushing their own agendas. It's not about you. It's about the people you represent. That's number one. But I also feel good student leaders are informed, especially at universities. Universities have policies. Universities, there are a lot of meetings that student leaders, they will be attending with management. Be at least informed about what's going on in this system that you are operating in, because it's difficult to lead and represent others when you don't even understand the system that you are working in. Because at times you'll end up fighting battles that are irrelevant simply because there's no understanding of the system that you are working in. But you also need to be a little more proactive. I feel like in most tertiary institutions, we have a lot of student leaders who wait for things to go south, and then you hear all the storm. There are days for protests. That I agree completely. At times, we need to protest. At times, you need to make demands. But at times, proper planning and engaging on issues timelessly can prevent a lot of chaos. You do not always have to wait for things to go wrong and then you react. Student leaders in most cases are busy individuals. They are attending meetings with management. They are involved in a series of meetings. Engage at that level. When there are plans in place that are likely to be detrimental to the masses, engage at that level. Make noise at that level. Don't wait for things to be implemented and then start making noise. You need to be proactive if you are a good enough student leader. But also it's a matter of leaving a legacy, the before and after effect. You need to leave these students with a feeling at the end of your term that something was added to their studying, to their stay at the university, and to their well-being by you being a leader. There needs to be a before and after effect. If you assume office and a year later or 2 years later things are still the same, it doesn't make you a good enough leader, because you have not added anything, you have not improved anybody's life. Leave a legacy so that those students will remain behind and say, at some point we had a leader, and when we had a leader, such and such happened. Then you realize that indeed there was a leader, because there was a legacy left behind. The before and after effect is clearly in place. The next principle is also critically important, because you cannot lead students when they do not trust you. So issues of ethics and principles are very critical. And it's an open secret that in this country that we exist in, we are so desperate for ethical leaders. We are desperate. Okay. And my feeling is this: there is a big chance that students can forgive you on operational mistakes, but when it comes to situations where your character is compromised, it's very difficult to be forgiven. Good enough student leaders are principled, and when you realize that there are things in your life that are demons, that are weaknesses, that are likely to show their ugly head, you need to work on them, because they always have a way of showing themselves out. So when we hear that that student leader raped somebody, that leader assaulted somebody, that leader committed fraud, that leader, all those little things that are damaging to character become too much. As a leader, you have to have strong principles. Okay? Because when people do not trust you, there is no way that you will lead them. You will make mistakes. You are a student. You are still developing. You're still learning. But as I was saying, if it's operational mistakes, you're likely to be forgiven. But when it comes to issues of ethics, it's going to be very hard to move beyond those. The last point that I want to argue is that good enough student leaders model what they want to see in those that they are leading. They become the face of what they want to see in others. So you can't be leading students in a tertiary institution and you are fighting for academic excellence, but you are really struggling with your grades. It doesn't make sense. To me, it doesn't make sense. You do not have to always talk about things. You need to action things. You need to model things. We best learn through observations. So when you say this is wrong, it should not be done, then you should not be doing it as a leader. And I keep telling student leaders that assuming leadership positions is not an easy job. It's not for everyone. And one of the reasons why I say it's not for everyone is because when you are in a position of leadership, you are on a pedestal. You are elevated for all of us to see. And you will be scrutinized on your conduct. And you have no right to say, I'm doing what everyone else has been doing. No. You can't be comparing yourself to an average student because you are in leadership. Leadership comes with the pressure to be better, to do better, and to model excellence. Okay, so you can't be saying that to people that they must work hard and they must pass, but you are not passing yourself. You can't be telling people that they need to guard against gender-based violence, but you are first to commit such crimes. No, you model the way. If you are not ready to take that kind of pressure, stay away from leadership. Because really, when you are in a position of power and you are a leader, you need to walk the talk. I keep telling student leaders that when you're a student leader, you do not have enough credit for misconduct. An average student may misbehave in a particular way, and when you misbehave in exactly the same way as a student leader, don't expect the masses to respond to you the same way. No, you'll make the headlines, and rightfully so. You are a leader. You should know better. Okay, you can't be comparing yourself to average students. So if you are not really ready for that kind of pressure, rather stay away. All right, so we need to work extra hard, guys, in as far as empowering ourselves to be better leaders, and I was noticing that it's that time of the year where people are raising their hands. They want to be elected into these positions. I think also, as students who are electing people into power, we need to be very careful of who we elect to represent us. Because if we don't choose wisely, we are doomed. And also those who are elected to lead students, don't be shy to seek help. Don't be shy to seek guidance. Don't be shy to ask questions, because you grow from actually seeking help. And I keep advising student leaders as a last point that while you are on your journey, take a moment to pause and ask the very same people who elected you to assess and evaluate you. Don't be shy to ask such questions as, am I still doing things right? Don't be shy to ask people, am I still doing things right? Am I still on the right track? Evaluate yourself. Be told, be called into order if you may. That's how you grow. If you are so allergic to criticism, you won't grow. Student leaders that you can't even call into order can't be better. If you are allergic to criticism, you will never, ever be better. You will drown in your incompetence forever. And you don't lose much by actually going back to people and asking, where can I improve? Because you are a work in progress after all. Cheers.